Indiana Fever, it's official, have fired Christie Sides. Indiana Fever, Christie Sides has been fired as the head coach of the Indiana Fever. It's official. Fever president Kelly of basketball operations just came back over, took over as the president of the Indiana Fever, coming back from the WNBA. It's pulled the trigger. They cut the cord. And, folks, this is something that it's a changing of the guard. What do they want to do? They want to bring the Indiana Fever. They're going to bring the WNBA championship back to Indiana. They're going to bring it back, and they're going to do it the right way. You're dealing in a situation where Christie Sides, I mean, let's be honest. Christie Sides was never a good fit. It was just never a good fit. They pulled the trigger. They fired her. And what else you going to do, right? I wish Christie Sides would have took a college job. Now the question still lingers. Christie Sides, good coach, just not for the Indiana Fever. I think it goes deeper than that, right? I think it goes deeper than that. When you got into it with CaitlinClark, and here's where I tell you about all the partners, everything, and I'm listening to these coaches, and I'm listening to coaches talk about the league, right? And they're talking about fans. You got to go. You got to go. That's it. You got to go. And this is a massive overhaul, folks. This is a massive overhaul that's taking place. And now we got to ask yourself, who's the right coach? Who's going to be the right coach for CaitlinClark? I mean, you got to be smart, intelligent, and you've got to be willing and able to be an ambassador, okay, and a partner with the league. All the coaches. Now, here's the deal. Money Mike's going to tell you I told you something right from the beginning. Everybody laughed at me. Everybody told me all kind of analysis. I said, here, guys, here's the deal that's going to happen. And I'm coming to the WNBA, and I'm normally over there. I love the NFL, but I come to the WNBA, and I stuck with it. I said, hey, let me look at this objectively. Okay, this situation is a massive, massive overhaul. And I'll be the first to tell you, when you look at it, who's going to be the right coach and what are they doing and how they're moving this around, there is a massive overhaul WNBA. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if you have a situation where Cheryl Reed, okay, of the Minnesota Lynx, time to step away. Time to step away. You got another league. You got the Unrivaled. So you got all your coaches Unrivaled. They can go over there and coach the Unrivaled league. But they're coaching the WNBA. And ain't nobody going to get up here and do what you have done in taking Team USA. I'm talking about Cheryl Reeves. This is where I'm going, Christie Sides. I'm talking about Cheryl Reeves and this massive overhaul. You took the global ambassador of basketball, CaitlinClark. 100%, no doubt. Most popular player in the NBA, hands down. Can't make the Olympic team. Then you get on there and you take all the other players. You don't do well. The fans are in rejection. Folks, this is the WNBA. You're listening to the Money Mike City Kitty Radio podcast. We are powered up by Fanatics. We're bringing you the objective view of the WNBA. I also told you half the players won't even be here. Okay, I told you that when I first started because you do not fit the client image of the WNBA. So while you're doing skits and all these things, and Christie Sides put a nail in the coffin. You get it there, you don't talk about the game, you start talking about the fans and what you're going through. You start talking about Connecticut. And all this, you talk yourself right out of a job. The corporate America has been inclusive for the last 15 years or more at AT&T. I get it. And when I start addressing CEOs, here's the deal. They know the revenue split's going to change. I'm addressing CEOs, folks. It's not a really a merry-go-round. You don't do things that you do not understand, and you don't be objective. So when I talk to John Stanky, John gets it. Okay, if I talk to Jeff Bezos, he gets it. Okay, if I talk to Elliott at Nike, he gets it. Robert Iger left Disney. They brought him back to fix it. He gets it, okay? All of these players and Adam Silver, they got a lot of reach. Okay, you want to talk about you got jobs and you're disrespecting the WNBA. The WNBA has shut your overseas business down. You're gonna disrespect this league because you're not disrespecting the WNBA, you're disrespecting the NBA, right? And so you got more investors. Adam Silver goes on and says, hey, you know what? I know it's not right. He knows it's not right, but here's the deal. We get to pick who we want in the WNBA. The WNBA and the NBA and Disney and Nike gets to pick which players are going to be part of that 50-50 revenue split. You're not going to be poking people in the eye. You're not going to be punching people. You're not going to be getting in the fights. You're not going to be saying things on media. You're not going to do that. The game has got to be cleaned up to market it, to pay the players. When you talk about paying a player $15, $20 million a year to play in the WNBA, you got to clean that up. So the old regime, everyone, and I get a lot of it, folks. I mean, I get just told I am nuts. One thing you're going to be find out about Money Mike, this is the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast, I will always tell you, it's my opinion. But if it turns to truth, I'm giving you the facts long before it happens. I'm telling you right now, 50% of the players who played in the WNBA, that's out of 144, 72 of them won't be there. 72 of them are going to be gone, right? They're going to be gone because you cannot disrespect the corporate partners. You cannot call fans racist. And now, after doing that, you want to come and say, I need more money? No. We pick the players now. We pick it. And I told you, the WNBA, they just haven't had a taste of grassroots. But once you get the grassroots growing, and Adam Silver knows all about grassroots, they know about it. This is a business of basketball. You got to be able to execute on and off the court. Anytime you don't do that, you can't take the prized possession and say they have bad habits. That's Christie Sides, right? So why did Christie Sides get fired? Let me just understand. Let me just break you down why Christie Sides got fired. Okay, because I want you to understand how a WNBA coach gets fired. First thing you do, you start the season, you say they have bad habits. So you're not talking to them, you're talking to Lisa Bluder, right? Because Lisa Bluder and Herb Simon, they're going to have meetings, the Simon family, they're going to have meetings with Lisa Bluder. There's no doubt about it, okay? Because I told you, I started out saying the golden goose, but then after everybody else does it, I got to change up, right? So I'll keep it cushion for you today. Okay, so as you go out, first thing you do, well, she's got a lot of bad habits. You got to take a 2-point shot. Where every NBA GM, now I'm talking all the NBA GMs, and salute to my man Elton Brand for staying in there and fighting it out, man. You're getting there. The deal is this, the worst shot an NBA GM will tell you is the long 2-point. If you take a 2-point shot with your foot on the line, that's the worst one. It basically call players stupid for do that. But here you got Christie Sides saying you got to take the long 2. Doesn't really spin. Next thing you do, you go offense and defense, right? You take her out at the end of the game and you put her in and sit the bench because you're trying to show up a player that's leading you in every defensive category you got, right? She's got more blocks, more steals than anybody, more rebounds, okay, as a guard. So then you get in there, you can't draw up sets, right? You don't have the IQ to draw up sets for CaitlinClark. So what do we see? Caitlin struggle all year long, being a shot maker, right? You turned her into a shot maker. God gifted her to play basketball. She can adjust to anything, but gee, my knees. I mean, come on. Okay, so then you keep that going. Now you keep going and going and going. You get to the end of the point. You don't even know what you're doing. They got to bring in people to execute offense for you. They brought in NBA basketball experts, coaches, players who gave Indiana the offense. But we only ran one option out of it. That was that CaitlinClark standing still, right? So you get to this point. Now you figure out a coach in the WNBA can't coach, right? So that's what happened to Christie Sides, because here's what I told you. You got 3 levels of players that came in there. And this is hard on any coach in the WNBA. I don't care who you are, unless you think you're narcissistic, right? Because you have to be in this league. You bring in Kim Mulkey's player, right? Alyssa Smith. That's a Mulkey player. Man, they're going to be fireballs spitting out of them all the time, right? Because that's what they deal with Mulkey. Then you bring CaitlinClark from Lisa Bluder, right? So you don't have an offense for her. You've totally got bad habits. So now they got to scrap your whole offense and put Lisa Bluder's offense. That's why Lisa Bluder's hanging around the building, right? Don't get it confused that all of a sudden Christie Sides became great and that's what we did, right? And you got Boston just playing below the perimeter. You finally get her out and you can stretch her game, stretch 2, 3, 4, right? So you get all this happening, and now you get in there where you got to win games, right? You got to win games, and all of a sudden, here's Christie Sides. You're up by 31. You lose the lead, and you're trying to figure out. You go to the press conference. You say, I've never been up by 31 points. So I told you when this started, Christie Sides, hot seat. You're going to put yourself on the hot seat, not you. Then you lose the ball game. Normally, you'd be just spitting fire. You're praising Connecticut. So what did I tell you? I said, Christie Sides interviewing for the Connecticut job. Now, Here's the deal. Who are you going to choose? Who are you going to choose? Who's going to come in? Because we understand that CaitlinClark and Christie Sides never was a good fit. Not from day one, not from any day. Because being a professional coach with superstars, you got to flip the script on them. You can look at Phil Jackson, right? Phil had to coach Michael Jordan. He didn't go in there trying to teach him basketball. Okay, they know enough basketball, right? So he went in there with the philosophy, Michael, you got to get the other guys in there, right? You got to be able to move these guys around. You got to do it. And he elevated Mike's game, right? So what does Phil Jackson do? He goes in there and he's got Shaq and Kobe, right? They bring him to the Lakers, right? He's not going in there to teach these guys how to play. Shaq can tell you, he brought me out here to lift a boat or something and see if I would do it. It's a mind game. CaitlinClark, Coach CaitlinClark, you got to be in a mind game. She knows way more than you on X's and O's. I saw that in the huddle. I saw in her actions. I saw everything she's doing. A franchise face of the WNBA is in there with a rookie coach, never been a head coach, right? So what do you got on the bench? Everybody's a first-year coach. It got overran. Lynn Dunn threw her hands up. I salute you, Lynn Dunn, because Lynn Dunn loves the Indiana Fever and Christie Sides do, right? You both do, but this is a business. And at the end of the day, the Simon family hosting a WNBA All-Star team, they want it all. They want the WNBA All-Stars. They want the WNBA Championship. They want the WNBA MVP. They've got players and agents lined up to close this deal. It's not only a massive overhaul of just Christie Sides getting fired. That's just the beginning. There's a massive overhaul, okay, going down with the Indiana Fever. And I guarantee you this, you're going to be shocked, some of the players the Fever get. You're going to be saying, there's no way they're getting that player. I'll tell you this, you come to the Indiana Fever, first thing, we're going to treat you better than everyone else. That means the food going to be better, the planes are going to be better, the hotel stays are going to be better, the travel arrangements are going to be better. Everything with the Indiana Fever is going to be better because they're America's team. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys and my San Francisco 49ers play today. Both of them are doing terrible, but both of them are America's team. And I'll tell you what, Indiana Fever are approaching this, and I told you the right way to do it. And Fever president with Kelly, this is the way you got to do it, folks. This is Money Mike syndicated radio podcast. There's no way else to do it. All that high-priced women, high-priced, not women, but high-priced leaders of women, okay, that are in the NBA. They're good at what they do. I'll tell you, folks, at AT&T, I'll be telling you after my 22, 23 years there, 20, it's almost 23. This is the deal. I know women are very intelligent. They got a process. They do it differently than men, right? They do it differently than men, but you cannot overstep the men, okay? Because here's the deal. I got to be honest with you. You're going to look at CaitlinClark, right? So you got Caitlin's WNBA. They won a championship. Is it going to be a man or is it going to be a female, right? Because if you ask me, I think Caitlin's better served by a man coach because Caitlin ain't into no emotion. There is no emotion. I heard Stephanie White's name. I don't know if Stephanie White can bring a championship back. It's a 50-50 because you got a roster up there, and I get it up in Connecticut. You had one, great. Okay, but you didn't win. You had a lot of great players, but you didn't win. Then I go back to Vanderbilt. You didn't win. You did terrible at Vanderbilt. So they brought you back, gave you a new team. You had the Indiana coach. You left the team to get better, to go pick another team to coach, right? So you didn't win with that. Now we're bringing you back after you left. I think we can go a different route, but I think the WNBA needs NBA coaches, period, hands down. The other flip side, I'll tell you, you know what? When you get in there and you're doing this, finding the right coach, two things need to happen in the WNBA. This is my opinion. I think the Las Vegas Aces, great team, great done it. I think Becky Hammon needs to go back to the NBA. I really do. I think Becky is so good that she's learned so much in San Antonio. Now you have to understand, coaching for San Antonio is like coaching for the Indiana Fever. That's the best environment you could have. Everything is under control. You got some organization, guys get a little, half baked and things happen, right? But Becky doesn't belong in the NBA, WNBA. Becky Hammon belongs in the NBA. She's like nails, right? She can get it done, right? And she's going to get bored. One thing I can tell you about Becky Hammon's going to get bored. You know what? And I wish she had compensation because you know what? If it were me, Indiana Fever, I'd go give Becky Hammon $10 million, go get 3 championships. Becky, go back to the WNBA. I'll see you later. Okay, let somebody else coach the Las Vegas Aces because Becky's had them and Becky gets bored quickly. You got to pick these things up because I noticed in her press conference, I don't know what these women are doing. They're all over the place. Can't even get a rebound. Can't score. This ain't even basketball. That's the kind of coach the Fever need, right? Because you got to have somebody that's smart. You got to have somebody that can put pressure on you. And you got to have somebody that can take you to the next level mentally. And that's what Phil Jackson did, and coaching superstars isn't easy. I'm going to tell you, Lisa Bluter, I always salute Iowa head coach Lisa Bluter because Lisa Bluter had to coach CaitlinClark for 4 years. That wasn't easy. I guarantee you, Lisa Bluter and CaitlinClark will sit down and laugh about some things. You remember the time you kicked me out? Coach, you kicked me out 4 times in a week, right? Because Caitlin is Caitlin. Caitlin is different, right? But what's going down in the NBA? This is crazy. This is crazy, crazy, crazy. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. You fire 6 coaches. 6 coaches. Okay, 6 coaches in 1 year. That's called a massive overhaul. The question is, will Cheryl Reeves still be here? After you went on there, you blasted the officials, right? Should have got a $50,000 fine. Cheryl Reeves should have been fined $50,000 for blasting the officials. Nothing happened, right? I'm wondering if she's going to still be a part of the WNBA. Because I'll tell you what, you're up there in Connecticut. They got a lot of people up there in Minnesota. And one thing I can tell you about Minnesota, you know what? You got to understand something. Minnesota had a great man. I had an opportunity to meet at the 49ers in the press box. Okay, it's Larry Fitzgerald, father, right? Passed away. He covered Super Bowls, did media out of Minnesota. First class individual. And Larry Fitzgerald, Hall of Fame, wide receiver, Arizona Cardinals, right? There's ways you do things. There's ways you do things. The NFL understands it. They do it the right way. The WNBA, you got the NFL wants in the WNBA. They got a pile of money. Trust me, it's a copycat league in the NBA, right? It's a copycat league in the NFL. So you see Mark Davis, you see what they're doing with Mark Davis, and Mark Davis showing all of them guys want in. So as soon as you get, this is a different corporate spin, you're going to get Adam Silver, okay, gets on there, does the CNN Fast Money, who comes out the gate blazing saddle. Kansas City Sports Commission, which is the Hunt family, the Kansas City Chiefs. We got an arena here, Adam Silver, okay, Cathy Englebert, T-Mobile Arena right here in Kansas City. Good barbecue. We waiting on the WNBA, and we are ready. That's what we're looking for. Folks, I'll tell you this revenue split, you know what? It's going to be 50-50, but it's going to be with the players that they want to pay, right? Because every player coming in the WNBA, I guarantee you this, you'll have a Nike shoe. You'll have that Nike commercial. You're also going to get Adidas is going to get in this game. I guarantee you Adidas is sitting back. I haven't seen much, but they're coming, and they're coming ferociously. They've been making some good corporate decisions, and they're ready to get back in this thing. So you got what you got. And guess what? Christie Sides fired. Yep, out the door, number 6. You talk about Black Monday. I don't think ever in the NFL they ever fired half of the 32 coaches, right? 16. We only got 12 teams. Look how many new coaches are coming in, right? You got all the expansions are coming. I don't think anybody's going to recycle. I don't think the recycle business of the WNBA. It's 2 points of recycle I'd like to see change in this. You don't need to recycle coaches, and you don't need to recycle players. There's so many other players that you just haven't put the scouts in. You put the scouts in there, there's a whole lot more talent. And there's a lot of talent of women that shoot the basketball 40, 45% from three-point lines. So that's what you got. But it is what it is. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. Christie Sides is fired. Done. CaitlinClark, the two of them were never a good fit. That's positive, but that is what it is. The Fever President Kelly's going in a different direction. Friendship, we love you, but this is a business, and the business must go on. Kelly's got one job. She's going to bring that WNBA championship back to Indiana. I guarantee you that one. WNBA All-Star coming in there as well. CaitlinClark, MVP, always WNBA Rookie of the Year. Should have been WNBA MVP, no doubt about it. Got him into the playoffs, but don't stop there. Who's going to be the right coach? Who is going to be the right coach for the Indiana Fever? Everybody wants to look at one, but I'm looking differently. I think they may have a rabbit in the back of their hat. Hang tight. Now, you get in there, they do an overhaul. That's number 6. We're going to go number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. They might just fire them all. Now, what would happen in the WNBA if all the coaches got fired? Think about it, folks. You got a revenue split. It's got to get off of that 90-10. That's old news. Let's get into the new WNBA. We're going to market it. We're going to have commercials. We're going to have shoes, signature shoes. We're going to get this thing rolling just like the WNBA. But guess what? A lot of you players that were on the 90-10 complaining, you're not going to be part of this 50-50. They're moving on from that. They're showing you with the coaches. So whatever relationship you have with that coach, you got an objective coach coming in now. They're not going to have the same relationship. And the applicant pool is huge. I always said the NBA and the WNBA, they got to have high profile coaches. Okay, people laugh at me. Oh, Don Staley would never come. Oh, you would never get any of these top NBA coaches. If the money's right, they're coming. Why? It's all their players. How many players you really think Gino's got in there? Right? So they're going to go unrivaled or they're going to get here. So the NBA, anybody you go out the door talking about, you start in a new league and talk about unrivaled, you got 6 coaches need jobs. Unrivaled, you got all your coaches now, right? So you're good to go there. Let's keep it rock and rolling. It's a new day, and it's a WNBA new day, and it's going down just like it's supposed to. One by one by one, they're getting you out the league. The NBA, Nike, Amazon, Disney, Delta, they're moving in a new direction, folks. AT&T, Stanky, this is the right move. 100%. We got to get it right and do it right. All things are possible to those who believe. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Christie Sides fired as head coach of Indiana Fever.